to be friends. Well, this is Sunday's good old days story time again. I'm also working on posting pictures of the actual flood that we just got over with last week, and also garden update and showing you how the garden's doing and since the flood. And I also have new additions to the animal family, so I'm going to be posting a video on that too. It's in the workings. It takes me different days. It's been raining almost every day, so I'm not going to get my camera soaking wet and ruin it. So it takes days of me collaborating different videos to merge into one video, so that will be coming. So tonight I'm going to be reading out of We Had Everything But Money, which I know a lot of people might have this book. And I'm going to be reading a story that's called How One Teacher's Love Helped Troubled Families Start a New Life. And this is by Catherine E. Rogers of Dansville, Arkansas. A combination of courage, pride, bravery, determination, and hard work helped build rural America, and one of my school teachers had every one of those qualities. Her name was Mrs. Eichelberry, and she taught in many one-room schools. During the Depression, she lived on Huckleberry Mountain in Logan County, Arkansas, and hiked down a steep 2.5-mile trail each day to her little school. One Monday morning, as she came down the rugged trail, Mrs. Eichelberry saw smoke coming from the school's chimney. Now who can that be, she asked herself. She opened the schoolhouse door and was greeted by a shy, embarrassed family, a man, his pregnant wife, and 2 small children, and a grandmother. The family members had moved everything they owned into the schoolhouse. Their possessions consisted of an iron bedstead, a cot, a few pots, pans, a few dishes, and several pasteboard boxes, all neatly arranged in the back of the room. The man explained that he was out of work and looking for a job. When his family reached the schoolhouse, they couldn't pass up a chance to have a roof over their heads, a floor under their feet, and some warmth from the wood-burning stove. He added that his wife was due to deliver a child soon, and he didn't want her sleeping in the cold, stripped-down car that they had converted into a pickup truck. Could they stay? Mrs. Eichelberry was a compassionate person and assured the man his family would not be turned out into the cold. She did advise him, though, that classes would have to go on, and the family promised to cooperate as long as they could stay in the building. The teacher noticed the family had only a meager supply of food, so she brought turnips, greens, and dry beans and peas from her farm to share with them. She also had some spare bedding and clothing at home, so she brought those items to assist the family as well. During the next several weeks, the man continued to look for work. He carried in water for the school, and he cut and hauled wood from the hillside for the stove. The grandmother took the 2 children outside whenever weather permitted. Meanwhile, classes continued as usual in the front of the room. The husband, wife, and grandmother listened intently as the students recited their lessons. At recess, they asked the teacher questions about history, arithmetic, and stories she had discussed with her pupils. One day the grandmother said, "My son-in-law will find work soon, but I'm hearing things I never heard before, and I'm going to hate to leave." One morning, Mrs. Eichelberry arrived for school and saw that the grandmother was preparing to deliver her daughter's baby. The teacher quickly ran back up the trail to meet the students before they reached the school. She told the oldest child to keep the others there until she heard the school bell. Then she went back to the school to help deliver the baby. Mrs. Eichelberry had assisted at birthings many times in the remote Arkansas hills. but this was the first time she turned her school into a maternity ward. The delivery went well, and mother and baby were both fine. By the time the mother was able to travel, her husband had found a job at a sawmill in another community. The family of 6 piled into their old car to move on. We pupils hated to see our baby leave, and a few tears were shed as we waved goodbye to them. The Depression days were like no other time in the history of our nation. The dedicated teacher who walked those mountains and the mountain trails met and overcome problems that might have defeated someone with less courage and determination. How do I know? She was my mother. I love that story. Oh, it makes me teary-eyed. I love stories like that. That's an inspiration. Let me show you the picture of this teacher and the students so that you can see. Can you see that? I'm trying to get it on here so you can see the teacher. Wonderful woman. And here are her students in the little one-room schoolhouse. Okay, and I think I'm going to read, there's also Depression-era recipes in this book of We Had Everything But Money. They have potato bread, graham gems, chicken pot pie, depression pudding, buttermilk pie, and eggless, milkless, butterless cake. That's some of the recipes that are in here. She found joy in helping others, and this is by Mildred Ruddock of Marysville, California. I shall never forget Christmas of 1931, for it was the most memorable one of my life. My family was very fortunate to have enough money for our 4-person household. I was a cashier for the gas company, and my father, a retired Army officer, was our town's postmaster. With 2 jobs and my father's military pension, we had 3 checks coming in, so we were able to help many who were in desperate need. On this particular Christmas, a friend and I decided to take food and gifts to a poor family over the holidays. I already knew who many of the poor were because they would come to the gas company office and plead with us to please not turn off their gas, even though they couldn't pay their bills. They all kept hoping for some kind of job and that would enable them to at least make a small payment towards what they owed. The family my friend and I chose to help hadn't been able to pay anything, even $1 toward her gas bill for 5 months. My superiors had told me that we couldn't keep providing service to them indefinitely. Their gas was to be turned off right after Christmas. My friend and I went out and bought a present for each member of the family, the mother, the father, the 2 girls, and a boy, and wrapped them in colorful paper. We also bought them a Christmas tree and decorations, plus a turkey, ham, potatoes, vegetables, cranberries, and Christmas candles for a holiday dinner. We drove up to the family's house on Christmas Eve. All the shades were pulled down tight. Their old car was parked at the side of the house, though, so we went to the door and we rang the bell, but nobody answered. We kept ringing, and finally we saw a child pull a window shade aside to peek out at us. When they saw we had presents and a tree, they opened the door to let us in. "Aw, little Zoe, is you whining, little girls?" Nothing could have prepared us for what we saw. The house had looked nice from the outside, but inside it was completely bare. There was no furniture in the living room or dining room, and the bedrooms contained no beds, only mattresses with bedding on the floors. In the kitchen sat a table surrounded by orange crates the family had been using as chairs. The icebox was open and empty. There was no ice. No food was visible anywhere in sight. Tears ran down the mother's cheeks as she helped me unload the groceries we had bought. The father explained that he had sold all the furniture to buy food for his family. Now he had nothing left to sell and no gas in the car. We had no idea they were so destitute. As we walked back to our car, the father walked with us, thanking us over and over as tears streamed down his face. Before our visit, he had sunk deep into the depths of despair. I'm getting teared up. My friend and I, I'm okay, Chico. My friend and I immediately emptied our pockets of all the money we had and gave it to him. It was only $8, but it was enough for him to buy some gas, ice, and other things the family desperately needed. I told the father to come to my house the day after Christmas. I knew my parents would give him a job doing yard work. Perhaps some of their friends could hire him too. We also promised to ask them if they had any extra furniture that he could use to start refurnishing his home. With that helping hand, the family got back on its feet, and the father turned out to be excellent at yard work, and he built up a large clientele for himself. That was a wonderful Christmas for me, and it quickly taught me the great joy to be found in helping others. I have done it every Christmas since. That is also an awesome story. I hate hearing about people suffering. It breaks my heart. But that is a wonderful story. Wonderful. Sorry guys, I'm not usually blubbery, but you know, things like that really get to me in here. Just break my heart. Anyway, those are the 2 stories for this Sunday. I hope you all have a wonderful and safe Memorial Day. If you've lost any loved ones, my heart goes out to you. I lost my father of 2 forms of cancer, very progressive. When he found out his diagnosis for the first time, they told him he had 4th stage cancer and that he would live for 10 months, and that's exactly how long he lived. He passed away in 2014 in June. That was such a hard year for me. I miss him all the time, and make sure that you take time out of your life to remember those that were so special to you, that left an imprint on your life somehow, some way. Don't forget to leave something nice at their gravesite, or even if you can't afford anything, that's fine. Just go talk to them. You know, talk to them in spirit, something. Go pull weeds around their tombstone, or if they have a tombstone or a plaque. Okay guys, I'll see you next video. I just want you guys to know that I absolutely adore you all, and thank you for being subscribed to my channel and spending time with me. Blessings. Have a great day. I love yous. I love you, boo-boos.